ain't nothing like a funky beat.
Hello everybody, welcome to another exciting Guapish at the Disco review. As we alluded to, and by alluded to I mean blatantly said, we are reviewing the Camellia album U.U.F.O. It's a 2021 album, I think. Yes, 2021. And we also have a change up here. Teacher's taking a little bit of a hiatus from the Guapish at the Disco reviews, and subbing in is our usual host of the regular podcast, Nico.
About time y'all white boys finally got a little diversity in this music podcast.
We've lowered the melanin since adding you in, but go off, King. And then, of course, we also have our local white boy, Tanner.
I will say, now that we're getting into a southern summer, my tan is going to be coming back.
You were really fucking tan when you first moved into Oregon, so...
Yeah, you're going to be living up to your namesake once again.
Right. It's incredible, like, how tan I can get for a white person compared to my, like, default skin tone.
You literally get whiter than Nico. Anyways, per usual, we're immediately getting off track. Let's actually talk about the album here. This is, I think, his fourth major album that he's produced. This one is 27 tracks long, over 2 hours of straight up Camellia. And specifically, this is a unique electronic album because normally they follow a pretty similar genre scope. This one, basically every song is a different genre. They all have very different vibes. It's kind of like a kitchen sink album. They have very little cohesion outside of just the general theme of like, it's spooky, things like that. I don't know if you guys noticed this. I'm assuming you did because you're not literally retarded. But all of these songs, maybe not all of them, but a large portion of them relate to like various like mythos or like urban legends and things like that. You know, like Polybius with the fucking like mind control video game that was created by like the CIA or something, or fucking Labyrinth of Kowloon with some other shit. All these names are like random references, and that goes into a lot of his other songs too. Camellia likes to have fun with his songs. He's got all these random sound bites and stuff throughout everything to various references throughout the communities. He's very involved with the rhythm game community, and he has specifically even like one of the songs, Killer Toy, is a sequel to one of his previous songs, Killer Beast, from the Black Magic Blazing album. But also it's the toy is literally just the name of a pro OS player, and he uses sound bites from Toy in the song, which I think is cool.
That's pretty fun.
It's a very integrated with the community album. People in the rhythm game community love Camellia because he's very known for like making a bunch of like crazy hard songs. Everyone's like, oh yeah, a new Camellia album came out, time to get fucked on in OS or something, that type of thing. Yeah, I guess I'll go last with my overall thoughts here. Nico, I'm most curious about yours, I guess, even though I know a lot of it already.
Yeah, so my experience with this album can be summed up by this was an emotionally, physically, and spiritually draining experience for me. So, you know, I haven't listened to much electronic music in the past. Basically, my entire experience with it is what I have listened to your, like, radio just in the car when we're going to the gym or whatever the fuck. So, you know, this is a fairly new experience for me overall. I've never listened to this much electronic music in one go. And, you know, I wasn't the biggest fan, let's just say. You had started this off by saying that, like, you know, like every song is a different genre, and so I don't see it at all. I think the majority of this is all kind of the same stuff for me. Like, there were definitely a few good ones in there that really stood out. Like, the Russian symbol, I don't know how to fucking pronounce any of these. I'm also summarizing the names of them because they're all really fucking long. Like, the Russian symbol 76 one. Red Room I liked. Polybius, we'll get back to Polybius. Area 52, Miss You Forgot. Fucking Toby Fox killed it. That song in particular came after, like, a long stretch in the album of just a lot of electronic music that I didn't fucking like. So he was like an oasis for me. I love that guy. Props to you, Toby Fox. And Looking for Edge, the very last song, I also enjoyed quite a bit. But yeah, so I guess the thing that I kind of feel about electronic music, and I guess mainly just like a lot of the songs on this album in particular, you're gonna need to stay with me here for a second. So Danny Sexbang, the big boy himself of Ninja Sex Party fame, you know, Daniel Sexbang, as you may call him as well. A thing that he said in the past is that a key component for making a good song is when the rhythm is predictable, because people like it and just find it satisfying when they know where a song is going. And many of the songs on this album just lack that quality for me. Like, there were songs that were just constantly switching direction after like 20 seconds and just giving me whiplash listening to them.
Understandable, I guess. I'm assuming that's your ending of your thoughts here. I do think it's interesting that you...
I have more thoughts.
Well, I'm going to fucking interject anyways, because mostly just with your comment of everything kind of sounding the same. I assume that's just an ignorance of the genre kind of thing. You haven't listened to enough of it, so you haven't, like, put all these different sounds into, like, different buckets, basically. There certainly are a lot of, like, for example, hard bass is used a decent amount. You don't know what the fuck that is, but hard bass is used a decent amount of a few different songs. Also, a lot of them have just, like, general, like, the hardcore genre in it, too. But they all have very unique sounds, and from an electronic listener standpoint, I appreciate it for that. I do think it's interesting. They do think they sound very samey, though.
They do.
Anyways, go on.
I just, a big problem for me is it feels like a lot of the songs just don't have a very clear direction for them. And so rather than like really like a good harmony or melody that the dude's coming up with, it just kind of sounds like he's fucking around for the most part, which is what I don't like. And so, you know, the songs I named previously, what I liked about them is that they all felt like they had a much clearer direction core to them. You know, things like fucking Polybius, there was like that sort of like 8-bit soundtrack in the background that would just like, it would come back to after it'd be like, oh, a big bass drop of like electronic music and stuff like that. Or like fucking like Area 52, that one had a very sort of like I'm getting abducted sort of feel to it, which I liked. It's just something about them to make them stand out more is what I liked, whereas a bunch of songs I wasn't super into, like Killer Toy, WYSI, Cicada, Slime, Cat Evolved, they all felt pretty much the same to me and I didn't like them. A particularly bad song, by the way. Fucking Tannison. I don't know how you pronounce it. It has a bunch of dashes in between it. I really fucking hated that one. That's the main like contributor to like what I described to you previously, Jackson, where it sounded like there were songs where it just had like the sound of like an object clipping in a video game where it's just that repeatedly. That's the main song I'm talking about. That song had it constantly and I did not like it.
I'll have to listen to that one again to maybe know exactly what you're talking about. I listened to the album again today and I didn't really figure out what you're talking about, but maybe we just have a different sound of like something clipping. It's like that like thudding, like that fast like thudding noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like I noticed that really ever, but that's just me.
I think I know what sound Nico is talking about, and as I was listening to this while I was driving at work, to me it kind of sounds like a car honk like in the distance, and so I would hear that sound throughout the song, and every time I'm like, what? Who's honking at me? And I was like, it's a fucking song, goddammit.
Yeah. That reminds me of fucking, in that vein, Kisaragi. Like, the very, very intro of that song, the first, like, 3 seconds. For some reason, it always... something weird about it. It's like feels I'm getting like sucked into like a universe kind of thing, which sounds dumb, but like it like makes me feel like I heard something in real life, even though it's not a fucking sound. It sounds like a train coming to a stop or some shit. It's weird, but like for some reason my brain just thinks I'm like in danger when I hear it at the start of that song. It's weird as fuck. I've listened to this song so many times. I'll just be listening to this album raw coming from Area 52, and then the intro of that song comes. I'm like, huh? And it happens every single time. I don't know why. It's tickling my brain in some weird way.
You're getting isekai'd.
Maybe, just maybe. Tanner, please give me your overall thoughts of U.U.F.O.
Overall, I'm pretty much completely disagree with Nico. I like this one quite a bit. I'm not a very prolific listener to electronic music, but I have heard a decent smattering of things, and I generally enjoy the genre. I understand what Jackson is saying when he says each song is kind of in a different genre. I was going to come in here and say I like how every song is like a different theme, but I guess genre makes sense in that context as well.
They do follow the same theme, though, of it being spooky and creepy or whatever.
Ooh, I got real scared when I was listening to fucking Hello. That one spooked me.
Oh, yeah, that one's fucking... Yeah, no, Mist, you forgot. That one fucking shook my bones. It shivered my timbers. Anyways, go on, Tanner.
Yeah, kinda. I picked up on... There were themes. I don't know that the overall where it's like, oh, this is like spooky things. I can't say that I picked that up.
It was like... There's like a little bit of a through line going through. Not every single song follows that theme, but most of them try to, at the very least.
I also like I don't know the names of any of the songs, like because I to full disclosure, I did not I wasn't as like rigorous in reviewing this album as previous ones, just because I was like 27 songs. I'm not gonna write down thoughts for each individual one. I'm just gonna listen to the thing over and over.
You didn't even give it a chance.
I have at least 3 sentences for every single song on this list, and I'm not going to talk about any of them probably.
Probably not. You never do. But yeah, overall, I liked pretty much, or yeah, I'd say I liked to really liked every song on this album. I think it's pretty solid. Like Jackson, I was picking up on the sound. In fact, I was specifically going to say I like the sound diversity on this album. I will say, to a certain extent, I do agree with Nico where he was saying that there isn't like a strong through line, as he put it, where like he is changing up the sound within each song a decent amount of times. And so it creates this weird paradox where I'm like, every song sounds different, but then like it's like every song is the same in how it is different, you know?
It's that Camellia style. You get used to it eventually.
Right. And then also, like, there is a through line where it's like, they're pretty much exclusively all really high energy tracks.
Yeah, they're very high BPM normally.
Yeah, I don't know if are there any slower ones on this one? There's one that's slow for like half of the song, but then it goes fast.
Yeah, Looking for Edge of Ground's pretty slow at the start. Miss You Forgot is relatively slow. That's really it, honestly.
Yeah.
Labyrinth of Kowloon's a little bit slow at the start, but then it definitely starts picking up.
And obviously, I've said I like fast and loud music, so that's not a problem for me. I can totally understand why that would be a problem for other people.
It just felt like it was giving me anxiety personally. Like I was, for like the first time I listened through this album, I was just like chilling at work. And so I feel like in order to like fully get the most out of this album, I have to be doing something a little more physical or something. Like something that like really taxes my brain. But he's just sitting there like staring at a fucking Photoshop document while listening to this. I just don't think it's the right environment for it. It was too much stimulation.
You're fucking listening to the last drop of Killer Tor, the noise going on. You're just sitting there just making a fucking PDF.
I'm fucking foaming at my mouth. My brain can't take it.
Yeah, I kind of get that. But yeah, overall thoughts. I really like the album. I like the music. I have no specifics to say about any of it.
It's vibes-based, pretty solid. I guess I'll go into my overall thoughts. I'm kind of like a mix between both of you guys, and this is coming from a Camellia listener. Overall, I would say I am definitely leaning more towards Tanner's side of like to very like most of these songs. There certainly are some songs that weren't crazy my style, like Zuzulka, whatever the fuck that like weird swing hard bass song. Not a crazy big fan of that one. The one that Nico talked about, Tannison, not a crazy big fan of that one. That one's fucking weird. There's a couple other ones too that weren't like I was a crazy big a fan of, but most of the time I vibe pretty hard with all these songs, I would generally say. And there's a lot of songs I really fucking like. For some context here, my favorite song of all time rotates pretty frequently as I find new music, and it's very recent to see biased. When this song first, not this album, when this album first came out, absolutely my favorite song of all time in that moment back in 2021 was Looking for Edge of Ground. That song is so fucking sick to me. And there are a lot of songs that I think are really good on this album too. Like the Labyrinth of Kowloon. I didn't really like that one when I first listened to this album way back in the day, but I've come around on it a lot, and I think that song is super fucking cool. Polybius Speedrun, that's another one I think is really fun. Honestly, Blenderman 2, the final Blenderman appears, whatever the fuck that one's name is, wasn't a crazy big fan of the first time I heard that one too, but for some reason I just got really caught up in the energy of that one too. I switched out that electric guitar going in the background, big fan. There's just a lot of like really fun songs that I enjoy too, and I've been listening to this album for years now, and I've become very accustomed to its sound. I've also just been listening to Camellia albums since like 2015, so I'm a very long-term listener of him, and because of that, I'm kind of like negating the issue of like the switch ups and the lack of consistency, you might say. I don't really see that as an issue because I'm just very used to this style and I enjoy it and I've come to appreciate it over time. Honestly, a lot of these songs just sound like you're getting a fucking 2-for-1 combo, and if you like electronic music, that's just nothing but a benefit from my opinion. Like, for example, Killer Toy is much more of like a dubstepy, like hard, like raw style intro. Or not raw style, I think it's tear out. There's a lot of fucking genres. Who cares? You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe the audience does, though. Comment down below if you like tear out. Anyways, it like starts out with like this like slower paced, like hard, like tear out section, and then it just goes into like this fast paced fucking like speedcore. And I love that shit. I think it's super cool and unique, and it just adds like a fun twist to a lot of these songs. I think the length of it too. Probably its biggest detractor is just it's insanely long, but also it's like almost immediately negated just because of the sheer variety of all these tracks. Honestly, it doesn't really feel like I'm listening to an album. It mostly just feels like I'm listening to a playlist of Camellia songs, and this is not a bad thing. This is just like, I like Camellia songs, so I didn't really feel like burnt out really listening to it at any point. And it's also, in that way, you can also kind of like put it down and come back, and because there isn't like a crazy strong through line with a lot of these songs, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. And it's a very good album just like pick songs out from too, in that way. But yeah, this, I would say, generally speaking, like a lot of these songs, there's some stinkers in it, but generally pretty solid album. I think this is a good one to intro to Camellia with, just because there's so much variety. If you like one song, like Looking for Edge of Ground, for example, maybe you can go and find some of his more, like, I don't know, ethereal sounding Vocaloid pieces or something, because he has a lot of songs. This guy makes so much fucking music. He's constantly making music. It's his life passion. He makes like 3 fucking albums a year. It's absurd. He's just nonstop cranking them out. And if you like any specific song on this album, then you can just look up what songs are like this from Camellia, and you'll probably find like 50. And I think that's nice because it's a really good jumping off point. I guess one final point as well is this album actually made me like some genres I'm normally not super appreciative of, specifically extratone, which is the genre of electronic with 1,000 plus BPM. Of course, the extratone song of mention in this album being Hello BPM 2021, which of course, as the name suggests, is a 2021 BPM extratone song. And honestly, I fuck with it. Mostly just because Camellia, he does this in a few of his songs, but he basically just overlays melodic sections with the like extratone. Normally in a lot of extratones I've heard, it's literally just like a fucking high-pitched noise for a while, and there really isn't a whole ton more going on to it than that. Maybe I just listened to really dog-chill extratone, I'm not sure. But I just think it's fun. It's got the like Camellia twist of like there's more to latch onto, whereas like the extratone parts of it are kind of like ambiance to it and just like increase the intensity of the track while also giving you something else to latch onto, and I appreciate that. And generally speaking, I'll just give Camellia credit for the fact that he put together 27 unique songs in a fucking album like that. That's very impressive for one single producer. That's pretty sick.
Dude, extratone, hard bassing, what the fuck is all this shit? I hate that there's so many different music genres. It's bullshit. Fuck you. But
I think it's nice because it lets you compartmentalize more specifically what you like. Like if you, like obviously for me, you know, I don't like hard bass, so I can kind of avoid listening to hard bass electronic. Maybe I really like melodic hardcore, and I can look up that song specifically, and I can find songs much more similar to it. And I just think it's good for that type of thing. It certainly goes probably deeper than it has to, but
I 100% agree with everything you just said. I do think that, like, you know, just objectively speaking, I think it's a good thing to be capable of, like, categorizing things like that specifically. So if you do fuck with, like, a particular genre, you can very easily try to find other things that you'll be into like it. I just don't like how fucking smarmy people are when you say, I like this dubstep song. That's not dubstep. That's hard speed electronico, dude. What the fuck is your problem? How do you not hear the differences?
Okay, also you're going pretty hard on this guy here. I would say if you're not being fucking smarmy about it, it's fine. But generally speaking, a lot of people do just say any electronic is dubstep. Blake, I'm calling you out, buddy, you motherfucker. He is enemy number one of people like me because he just calls everything dubstep, and it's not everything fucking dubstep. I think there's maybe a single song that has any amount of dubstep in this entire fucking album. And Nico, I don't think you would have believed me if I told you that prior. But
is it Killer Toy?
No.
Fuck. I thought I could clock it there.
No, bro, that's tear out. Don't ask me
Of
what
course
the
it
fuck.
is.
Don't ask me what the fucking difference is. It's tear out and speedcore. But yeah. Dubstep is easily like it's like the fucking boogeyman of electronic. It probably doesn't sound like what you think it sounds like, but yeah.
Okay.
Dude, I love subgenre taxonomy, but only in genres that I know about.
Holy bass. You love fucking thrash metal, don't you? You love black thrash metal.
I don't, I mean, I appreciate thrash metal. I can't say I've listened to much black thrash metal.
You're a huge fan of serpentine, unorthodox, dire metal, aren't you?
Oh yeah, dude.
All right.
Don't even get me started on Serpentine Reformed.
Okay. So how about let's do a different type of thing. Normally we just do like our favorite song and least favorite song of the album. There's 27 fucking tracks in this album. So how about we
Let's do a top
three?
5 for each of them.
No, I was gonna say top 3 and least favorite 3.
Okay.
Tanner, I think you don't know the names of any of these songs, so you just start and tell me, I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, Nico, how about you?
Yeah, so I'll go with Mitsu Forgot, Toby Fox, once again, fucking G, destroyed it. Looking for Edge, and then Polybius. Those would definitely be my favorites amongst it. And then for like least favorite, absolutely Tannison is the worst, just god-awful thing I've ever had to endure. Hello, I wasn't a big fan of either, and then, I don't know, probably Cat Evolved.
Holy shit. Yeah, for me, I don't hate Cat Evolved. I would say probably Tannison's probably one of my least favorites there too. I'm not a crazy big fan of the muzzle facing, but I don't know if I'd put it as low as something like fucking Zuzulka. I'm not a crazy big fan of that one either. The Tentacular Aliens like Jungle Party one, I don't know, that one didn't really like sit with me super well either. The names of these tracks are fucking insane, by the way. We didn't really talk a ton about them, but some of them are fucking stupid. It's like the cat evolved in like a microwave, the flying electric stealth girl bomber in Philadelphia or some shit. Man, they've got some stupid ass names.
Yeah,
Big
the one
fan
that I
of it,
called
though.
Russian Symbol 76, I called it that because it's just a bunch of letters I don't recognize that I'm assuming are Russian, and then the number 76 in there.
Dude, literally on YouTube Music, they literally have like the translation of like the Romanji, but you know, in Russian of it, which is Zolka 76.
Gotcha.
Anyways, and then my top 3 tracks of this album are Looking for Edge of Ground, unsurprisingly, is my favorite track of this album. This should not be a shock to anybody. Lavender Kowloon, I would also put in there. And I'm probably like tied, I would say, between Polybius and We Magicians Are Still Alive. I really like both of those songs. I probably edge Magicians over Polybius personally, just because it's a little bit more consistent in its sound, and it just is a very comfy sounding song for me. And it's also a sequel to another one of his songs, Newspapers for Magicians, and I like that one a lot too.
I'm also surprised Zombie Circus wasn't in there for you, because that was the only song I recognized from this entire album, because I recall you playing that a decent amount on the radio.
Yeah, I think Zombie Circus is fucking sick, dude. Unfortunately, this is only a top 3, and most of these songs got like an 8 or a 9 out of me, so there's a wide breadth here to cover. So I can't fit them all, but yeah, Zombie Circus is pretty high up in there. Same with Area 52. Area 52 is so fucking sick, dude. I love that final drop. It's so fun and fast and high intensity. I really do like Miss You Forgot as well. I think that one's fun. The color code's like cyan or something, the fucking like second to last one. I think that one's fun too. This is like a long version of it. There was an initial one that was like 2 minutes long. Like that one too. O.O. Parts, I think that one's cool as fuck too. That one probably like enemy number 1 for Nico in the sense of constantly switching what the fuck's going on. It's never consistent with what it's trying to do. But just from like the story of that, which for people that don't know, it was the OS World Cup some year, I don't know what year, and it was the tiebreaker. And the grand finals of the tournament ended up going into tiebreaker, and people played that map, and it was just fucking crazy and super hype. And I watched that live, and I've got great memories of that happening. So I have that like positive association. Ghoul's really cool too.
You told me about that though, that like that song was made specifically for like the OS World Championship or whatever, but like I feel like, doesn't that kind of song kind of defeat the purpose of a rhythm game? Like, it's constantly changing, so I feel like there isn't, like, really a rhythm to...
I think you are mistaking the point of rhythm games.
Okay.
Specifically, there certainly are some games like, like VSRGs, vertical scrolling rhythm games, like DDR or something, where there is like a level of consistency that you kind of expect with tracks. Yeah. But something like OS, there's tech maps, which are kind of hard to explain from somebody that hasn't really gone into OS that much, but they're just like more complex, hard to follow patterns, and people find them fun. I find them fun. There's a large portion of the community that really enjoy them, and they enjoy that challenge of being able to, like, you have to, one, listen to the song, but also you have to be like reacting constantly to these variations and switch ups, which adds an extra layer of challenge to it. Which also makes it very exciting to watch from a spectator's perspective if you're watching like 8 of the best players in the game going head-to-head in team battles with it. It's very exciting. Anyways, I think this is maybe shaping up to be one of our shortest reviews yet. Do we have
Hang on a second there,
thoughts?
Buster. I still have a final thought that I'd like to get out of the way here. A decently long final thought, but a final thought nonetheless. So, one of the songs I really wanted to discuss on this album is Polybius, because this song gave me a crisis of faith, and it was just very conflicting for me to listen to. By the time I got to Polybius, like, I just kind of resigned myself to being like, I guess I just don't like electronic music. Like, none of this has really been for me. It isn't my thing, and this album is going to be rough going forward. But Polybius reminded me of something. Chiptunes exist, and I do fuck with chiptunes. So what's the fucking deal with that? Why are those good, but I don't like the rest of this electronic music? Now, the least charitable, but also most likely explanation behind this is I'm a fucking nerd, and I like video games, and chiptunes remind me of video games. Alternatively, though, you could also think of this as, so chiptunes, they stem from gaming, and they're an important aspect of, like, creating a video game, is for, like, the music anyway, is having a catchy melody that you can just kind of, like, repeat constantly, but doesn't get fucking annoying, And because of that, chiptunes kind of evoke that same sort of feeling that traditional music is, where you're just trying to get a nice catchy melody, and that's the entire goal of it, which doesn't feel like it's the goal of any of this electronic music for the most part. Like, a lot of these songs in this album, they use a lot of, like, heavy distortion effects and reverb, as well as, like, fucking laser noises and shit that I just don't like. It doesn't feel like it evokes the same sort of, I guess, feelings that normal music does, where when I listen to, like, fucking chiptunes and stuff like that, I kind of get the sense of, like, oh, this is, like, what this sort of sound could be. It could be, like, this kind of instrument or whatever. But I can't fucking get that with, like, a sound of a garbage can slamming clothes or something,
Dude, sounds like you need to listen to more electronic music.
I guess so. This song made me think more about music than I've ever had to do in my entire life.
This is a great first album for you to review on Guapish at the Disco. Yeah. Anyway, speaking of ranks, are we ready to give our ranks?
Yes.
I suppose so.
Nico, please start us off with a hot 3 out of 10.
Dude, I'm not going quite that low, okay? This isn't like fucking Kven or anything like that. I'm gonna be giving it a solid 4.
Dude, that was my second guess. I'm gonna assume that Tanner's lower than me, so I'm gonna ask you for your rank next.
Yeah, it was a bit tough figuring it out. I was either gonna be a 7 or an 8. So this is the first one where I'm actually looking at my previous ranks, and I put Odyssey at a 7, and I think I definitely like this album more than Odyssey, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it the 8.
Holy shit. Personally, myself, I'm tossing up between an 8 and a 9. There's like those like 3 or 4 songs I don't fuck with that much, but honestly, most of them I still enjoyed a lot, and even if I didn't enjoy them necessarily, I get caught up in the vibes of the album. And this is one of those albums where if you like max out the volume, I feel like it just like does something to your brain, or my brain specifically. Maybe this is just me, and I just get like caught up in the vibes of it a lot more. I get caught up with the intensity, and even like some songs that I didn't like initially, I start to enjoy more. I think, actually, hold on, I'm gonna give one example. Fucking what the fuck was it? I think it actually was just, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was fucking Stealth Girl Bomber, whatever, that one. Wasn't a crazy big fan of that one, but like, I just get caught up in the vibes of it, and I end up just kind of just like my enjoyment of the album overall just kind of overflows and just like masks it almost. I'm still probably gonna say I'm gonna give it an 8, which is funny because I've given every single album I've picked so far an 8 out of 10. But like, it's just so hard for me to like justify giving it like a 9, especially when you had some stinkers. And I'd say I'd put it like probably on par with like from like an inventive perspective to like Odyssey. I would say I think Odyssey is really fun, and I'd be comparable to like I'd want to listen to either of these at the same time. You know, it landed at a 6.7 overall, the exact same rank as Finn and the ICDD album. How funny!
Fantastic.
Nico, pop quiz question for you here, and by quiz I mean this is not a quiz; it's just a question. You've listened to all these albums so far, right?
I think I've listened to almost all of them. I feel like there was one that I skipped. I think it was let me double check here real quick. No, yeah, I did listen to all of them. No. Oh wait, no, I didn't listen to Library of Babel.
Dude, I was just gonna ask you what do you think your favorite and least favorite of the albums so far are, just to get some perspective for the audience on how you think generally speaking.
I think Odyssey would be my favorite one, and then least favorite, absolutely Kven.
Damn. I really want to know your like actual thoughts about that one, but you can fucking write a comment about it, a really long, heartfelt comment about it for Tanner.
It's fairly simple, to be honest. I hate the fucking vocals. They're atrocious. I know that you and Tanner have both, as well as many other people, have described like that fucking guttural screaming sound that is present in all these fucking songs as like it's not
screaming though. There's zero screaming.
What is it? What do you describe it?
It's growl.
It's the same shit, dude.
No, it's not. You're so uneducated. You're so frankly low testosterone.
Is different.
You're such a massive pussy. Can't handle anything harder than fucking Franz Ferdinand.
Look, I'm sorry,
like
dude.
Real in man mode.
It's the simple fact of the matter. Y'all fucking always say it's just an instrument, okay? That's all I view it as. That's not what it fucking is, okay? What I liken it to is as if you were to fucking take a blender, throw some rocks in it, and turn that on throughout the duration of a song. Say it's just another instrument, you know? You just got to get used to it.
I mean, that's a shitty sounding instrument. That's a terrible example.
That's what I'm saying. That's how it sounds to me.
That's crazy. That's how fucking half the songs in the Deftones album sound to me. Anyways, Tanner, it is your pick this week. What are you choosing?
Dude, I'm having a hard time choosing between two ideas I had. And so I am going to attach one to each of you, and I'm going to say, Jackson, pick a number between 1 and 10.
1.
Okay, Nico, choose a number between 1 and 10.
10.
Holy cow, it was 6, so I guess we're going with the one I assigned to Nico. We are going to, I didn't look up the year, so oh well. We're going to be listening to the album Rise by Skillet.
Holy smokes.
I don't know if I've ever, I say this about every single fucking big popular band. I don't even know if Skillet's necessarily popular, but I know they're big.
Oh, yeah.
I've never heard any Skillet songs. I probably have, I just don't know what they fucking are. Like, I couldn't, say, oh yeah, that's a Skillet song. So I'm actually excited about this one.
Is it, Nico, you're the one who probably is about as familiar with them as I am. Mm-hmm. It'd be surprising if he hadn't heard one song of theirs, right?
Yeah, I think that just specifically Rise was pretty big, so I feel like it'd be kind of strange if he didn't hear that one. And personally,
not Rise, you mean Monster. I don't think they have a song called Rise.
Yeah,
they do. There's literally a song called Rise in the album.
Yeah.
It's also the most popular song of the album.
I don't think Monster's on this album.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
I was in between. I knew I wanted to do a Skillet album. I was in between doing the one with Monster on it because that's their most popular song, but I like more of the songs on this one, so I ended up going with this one.
Oh, Circus for a Psycho was also pretty big. I feel like there's a decent chance he'll have heard at least one of those.
Maybe.
Or maybe not, who knows.
Outro.
Thank you guys for listening to another banger review from the Guapish at the Disco crew, now starring Nico until Tanichi wants to come back, and then we're kicking him right the buck back off.
Oh.
Tune in next time while we listen to and review the album Rise by Skillet. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye.